The Prime Minister extends the country's state of emergency for another 4 months. 4 employees at the Children Emergency Hostel under investigation, and a former Brexit MEP has died in a diving accident in our Bahamian waters. Good evening, everyone. I'm Tyler Simonet with your JCN News for this Monday, January 25th. Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis announced this morning in Parliament that he intends to table a resolution to have the state of emergency extended until May 23rd.
I want to remind the Bahamian public that yes, we are doing well. However, we are letting our guards down, which can have devastating effects on our country moving forward. As we look around and see the number of funerals in violation of the order, the number of memorials in violation of the order, and even jungle groups engaging in rush hour in violation of the order. I want to remind the public that we should all be vigilant, because it only takes one individual to become affected, one infected, and the virus can have catastrophic and devastating effect on our society and placing us in a similar position as seen in the north.
The Prime Minister also reiterating that people spread viruses, asking that the public remains vigilant for at least another month as the vaccine could possibly be here soon. His comments follow COVAX announcing the signing of an advance purchase agreement for up to 40 million doses of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine. The rollout set to commence with the successful execution of supply agreements. A down payment of $250,000 has already been paid for 80,000 doses, accounting for 20% of the country's population. 4 employees of the Children's Emergency Hostel were placed on leave as police investigate a recent incident where children were reportedly severely beaten by workers. Minister of Social Services Frankie Campbell said yesterday.
An investigation by the National Child Protection Council reveals that there is sufficient information to refer this matter to the police for an official investigation. And that is what we have done. The matter has been referred to the Royal Bahamas Police Force for an investigation. I can advise that persons who were directly involved have been relieved of their duties pending the investigation. We won't venture to say that there may not be more, but at this point 4 persons have been relieved of duty pending further investigation.
There's about 24 children involved, and Minister Campbell noted that children will be receiving independent counseling. There's a total of 8 homes throughout the country between the capital, Grand Bahama, and Cat Island, with 150 children who are wards of the state. Now, when asked if these latest matters have prompted investigation at any of the other homes to see if similar issues are taking place, the minister says this.
Forces us now to review our protocols across the board. Yes, there are 3 homes, I think, that are owned by the government, 3 that are owned by the government, and the others are privately owned, but we are in partnership with them. We give them a subsistence, and we have oversight of them because the children are, in fact, our children. At this point, the policy and the practice is that the administrator is the only person who, as a last resort, has the authority to issue corporal punishment as a last resort.
The minister also shares these words with the public.
I would want to take this opportunity to remind members of the public as we bring this to a close that we all have an obligation to our children. We speak of the children as being our future. The future will be based on the kind of care that we give to our children that enable them to maximize their potential.
Minister Campbell also shared that the matter may have taken place late last year. Ingliston Member of Parliament Glenys Hannah Martin thanked Minister Campbell for his quick response to the hostel incident as the House of Assembly resumed this morning. She's now also recommending that the government takes a second look at the policies that relate to children.
How discipline is meted out, how there are checks and balances, what is the quality assurance check of the regulators, like the government, to ensure that no vulnerable child is again put at risk in a way in which that we all, most of us, feel repulsed by. And so I want to recommend that. I think that this was a signal for us. And I'm hearing a lot of stories from adults now who are saying about experiences. So I think that that this would be an important reform to ensure it doesn't happen again.
Minister Frankie Campbell also assuring parliamentarians that the matter at the Children's Emergency Hostel is under investigation, adding that a detailed written report will be presented in Parliament once it becomes available.
We are at present working on a management agreement that would be standardized for all of our homes that will contain professional standards. I will also speak to the practice and the policy now and how we will review it. I want to say to the nation and to my colleagues that this is not a partisan issue for me, and we are open to any suggestions and recommendations and consultation.
A former Brexit member of the European Parliament, Robert Rowland, has died in a diving accident near his Bahama-based home. Mr. Rowland, 54, and a father of 4, drowned while on a pleasure fishing trip. According to police reports on Saturday, January 23rd, sometime around 1 p.m., a party of 6 left New Providence on a 39-foot boat en route to the Exuma Keys. Around 2:30 p.m., while in the area of Highburn Key, Exuma, with the vessel anchored, some of the crew went spearfishing. Moments later, crew members became concerned when one of the males did not resurface. A diver went overboard in search of their colleague and found him lying on the seabed. He was brought to the surface, however, he was unresponsive. The crew immediately made their way to Norman's Key in an effort to charter a plane, however, this proved unsuccessful. They eventually returned to New Providence, where they were met by medical personnel who examined the victim and pronounced him dead. Press Liaison Officer Assistant Superintendent Audley Peters confirming with JCN's news team the identity of the victim. Police say they await an autopsy report to determine the exact cause of death, and investigations into this matter continue. You're watching JCN News. When we return, the alleged murderer of last week's Marshall Road homicide faces the courts, BPC firing back at environmentalists, and more sad news for Atlantis employees.